What's up everybody, this is Rich with Lifetime Shred, and last weekend I was down in Imondi Wake Zone and they had the Summer of Sling demo event and I got to ride the Johnny Rocket. So the Johnny Rocket was one of my top 5 boards I wanted to check out for 2025 for cable. I did end up buying the Hyperlight Guerrera, which I've been enjoying, in the 153, and I was down there, so I was like, oh, I'm going to demo the Johnny Rocket anyway, so I got out on the 151. So in this video I'm just going to share some of my thoughts about that board compared to the Hyperlight Guerrera, as well as my previous Slingshot Volt video. Before we get into that though, here's a couple clips. Here we go. Alright, back at it. So I'm going to leave just the video running kind of in the background here as I talk to the board. So with the Johnny Rocket in particular, you know, what I noticed right away is the bottom channels. So as you can see here, the bottom channels of the board, they run up and down. They're not like right on the edge like on the Guerrera. And this board was really grippy compared to the Guerrera or the Volt. Like I could tell on the water that it wanted to stick a lot more in a line. So I think this would be something good typically for air tricks or landing off kickers compared to the other boards. It didn't quite have the loose buttery feel of the Guerrera or the Volt, but you know, I just want to call that out because you could definitely feel those channels. You know, in terms of the flex of the board, I was actually really surprised here as well. So this is rated as one of the stiffer cable boards that Slingshot makes, but when I got out on it, it was actually really not that stiff feeling. Like it wasn't super soft, but not much stiffer than what I would be typically used to with the Volt or the Guerrera. Actually, the Guerrera to me actually felt a little bit stiffer than the Johnny Rocket. So I think that's really interesting because some companies will say, you know, this is our softest board, and it actually might be stiffer than like another company's stiffest board. And there are stiffer boards on the Slingshot line. I definitely say the Nomad or the Salmon board would definitely be stiffer than the Johnny Rocket for sure, whether in hand or out on the water. You could definitely tell, you know, that the tips and tails of the Johnny Rocket are milled down just like the Volt and the Guerrera tip and tail, and you know, they had a good pop there. Like I had one trick on the urban feature here at Imondi's, the CMB, and came up, transferred into a nose press, and it just like stuck into it and stayed there just like I wanted it to. You know, it didn't feel stiff like I was fighting it, like it pressed. So that was really cool. You know, in terms of the width of the board, because this is a skinnier board, kind of like the Guerrera, I talked about that going from the Volt to the Guerrera, I was dropping about an inch in the waist, I think 18 inches down to 17 inches. This is true with the Johnny Rocket as well, so it has that quick edge-to-edge feel of a skinnier board. So that's something to be aware of as well. You know, in terms of the other features of the board, it reminded me a lot of the Volt. Like, you know, the base slid really well. You could feel that concave area on the nose and the tail when you're doing like a nose press. It popped well off the kickers. All in all, it was a really great riding board. You know, I would say if I was going to change anything about this board, I just want a bigger size. The 151 with the skinnier waist just felt small compared to the 153 Guerrera I've been on, or previously the 152 Volt, which had the wider waist. So I'd love to see this board in like a 54, 55, 56 area with that same width, and I think that would be a really fun option for someone like me. And just for reference, I'm 5'11" and around 175 pounds, and right now I'm riding the 153 Hyperlight Guerrera. You know, in terms of the base, other than the bottom features I already talked about, Slingshot bases just slide great. I think they have the best bases out there. I mean, I've really thought my Hyperlight has been really good too, but the Slingshots are just smooth, and I could feel that when I was riding this board in any type of grind. those are my thoughts on the Johnny Rocket. I think if you're looking for a board that's got that skinnier waist, so a little faster from the heel to the toe, like when you're edging around, you want something that's going to grip on landings. The bottom feature is going to have you there, but still with the beveled edges, it's not going to catch on stuff that might be sticking out on a feature. And otherwise, just a great medium flex, really good pressability on the nose and tail with a concave feature. And again, for me, I think this board would be perfect if they just made one size bigger, because it just felt a little bit small for me in the biggest size, which is the 151, based on what I've been used to riding the last couple of years. Anyway, with that, I hope that information was useful. If I get a chance to demo any of the other top 5 cable boards I want to check out, I'd love to check out the Ronex Utopia in particular. I'll definitely make a video about it, but definitely 2 thumbs up for the Johnny Rocket, as long as there's a good size for you. And with that, I bid you adieu. Hope you're having fun. Summer's kicking off officially here, and see you out there. Bye.